Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide. It is week 17 and a bit of a weird week to be honest. Not one of my favourite weeks, I've got to be honest here. As you can see, we're at Alsace, which normally is either, well, it's like Marmite basically. You either like it or you hate it. This week should be okay. I've got to be honest, it should be okay. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 3 laps here at Alsace. We are on a grid start, as always with race A, and we are on sports hard tyres. Now, in terms of the cars, this is where it gets interesting. We have the Gran Fugu, we have the Nissan Fairlane, the twin-turbo 2-seater, the Z32, and then we also have the 350Z as well. Now, the car you want is the Gran Fugu, so yes, Fugu Frenzy is back. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks, somebody who doesn't understand clean driving, and a lap guide as well. Here we are then at the start, all lined up. As you see, most people pick the Fugu. There are two, well, you can see there, Z33s in there, 350Zs, as I like to call them, and that's what they're known as here in the UK. But we get ready with the grid start. As I say, traction control is needed, so, you know, whack it on, put it on 1. It will help with the start. You will see that in a second as we get ready. And here we, I should say, as we get ready. Anyway, here we go. We start off, then we change it just before we change gear, of course. And you saw my brake belts there. Check the description for all the brake balances in each of these races. Mr. Anthrop comes across quite quickly. I'm not sure what happened there. Just a mistake maybe. I'm not too sure. It was a bit weird. I had to really back out of that to avoid pitting them. But I was alongside at the time. So, yeah, I was a bit weird. But Sleepy Panda, look at that. Run around the outside. Gains a few places here. But we continue racing all the same. And as I say, this, I think, is a good week for racing in terms of race A. Very wide track. You can position your car in lots of different places. You'll see lots of 2, 3, and 4 wides. As up ahead, you can see 2 wide, going into 3 wide there. And we're going on the inside of a couple of guys as well as through we go. That's 2 positions gained, and then we're on the outside of another driver here as we look around the outside of the French driver. And yeah, we nailed that beautifully. Happy days. Oh no, they've got a bit of a run on, but we've got slipstream here as well. So heading towards this right-hander. Look at that, 3 wide up ahead as well. 4 wide even into that right-hander now. I'm not sure that would have worked. However, we keep it nice and clean with the French driver, and we maintain that position. Happy days. Let's fast forward a little bit further on here. Obviously, this race is quite action-packed, so I'm just trying to keep the action, you know, where it is, plus the lap guide. So you can see a little bit of contact there between the 350 and the Croatian driver. So we're looking to get past here. Now, I sort of knew there'd be a bit of understeer here. It's quite common. You go tight there, you're going to understeer out. So we look down the inside here, which will be the outside for the sharp right-hander. As in towards the braking zone we go. Again, we're keeping it clean. Look at this. Beautiful racing. Unfortunately, the 350 is just going to understeer as they accelerate, and it just hits us off a little bit. So they keep that position for now. However, you know, we're still going to race this. We can still see the leader here. We're only 3.2 seconds off here, folks. You know, we could still go for this win as we head over the hill. And this is where it gets dangerous. This is a very dangerous corner in this. And this is where you'll see most of the accidents and crashes. And also punts happening as well into this corner. Very easy to get wrong. The minute you start seeing a car oversteering, they lose all braking efficiency. And then they crash. But speaking of crashing, the 350 into the barrier. Pulls what I did in Madrid in 2018 into that barrier and loses the position. Doesn't spin like I did though. So we advance a bit further on where we've caught up to this huge pack here. First place is absolutely gone. Barry here seemed to, I don't know, didn't know I was there. So Barry nearly ended up meeting Barry R. But fortunately, I backed out of it. So we carry on racing here. But yeah, it was very odd. But we carry on all the same. Look at this. 3 wide into next corner. I knew something was going to happen here. So I was like, okay, let's keep it safe. But everyone's, racing quite tidily, to be honest. Through we go. And you'll notice that people are dropping to 2nd gear. Not advisable, if I'm honest. Stay in 3rd gear where you can. There's nowhere for us to go, unfortunately. So we try and give Psycho a tap to get the place, but that's not going to happen. So we stay as we are. And then from behind, the 350 knocks us out and also then hits Psycho as well. Now, I asked the driver after, I put a lot of question marks after the race and said, question mark, basically. What was that about? They put question marks. They went, you punted 2 of us off, me and Psycho. Apparently he didn't. I checked back. He did. He literally, the throttle was on. Let's put it that way. It wasn't exactly off. If it was off and he was just rolling, fair enough. I'd have just been like, yeah, fair dues. But it wasn't. It doesn't see Sleepy Panda there, and actually it's going to release the brake early on Psycho and actually hit them as well. So that, I actually said while I was racing this, strike 2. That's probably 3 strikes, to be honest. But we said strike 2, and we're just going to carry on racing. I'll say it was very weird. It's like they just got their elbows out suddenly, just wanted to race everybody. But look at this run. We're going to have up here. So Sleepy Panda, Tap Psycho. We're going to go in the middle of the both of them with the Moses maneuver. And I was scared here. I was like, I'm going to get punted here. Slight tap there, but that wasn't actually anything, you know, deadly or anything. But we managed to survive. We survived that somehow. I have no idea how. And you can see all the carnage happening behind. A little bit of contacts happening here, there, and everywhere. But through we go. And yeah, we're still in the fight for P. Steve here. But we're going to go on to the track guide now, as it's the last lap, of course. Heading towards turn 1 then, at the 50-meter board. You're braking before a lot of these markers, by the way. See, I've just got on the brakes here. You're looking for that 50-meter board. Brake before it. Trust me, if you brake at it, you'll be off. You got to brake before it. Try and reduce the understeer as best as you can. You want this sort of line a little bit tighter if you can. Use third gear. Do not go to second. You'll see Psycho. Look at that. Change of gear there. Second to third. Absolutely nukes the speed on the straight because you're going uphill as well. So you lose even more speed than normal. So third gear for turn 1. Critical thing there. Through here we're going to go. We're going to have a good race with Psycho actually. In towards the right-hander. And what you're going to use here, the first arrow on the left-hand side. Again, just before it, you're going to start braking. Now, I'm braking a little bit late here because I'm on this sort of a middle line rather than the left-hand side line. However, that is where you will brake. And we are going to survive this. As you see, we've managed to stop the cart. And lovely. Through we go. Psycho just tapped me here a little bit, but as I say, he's trying to race clean. You can see he lets off straight away. So you have to choose Psycho for this race. It's a good bit of racing. So into this left we go. And I'm pointing out this tree here, okay? That's your accelerating marker. You know, I don't point out these very often. If you see that tree, it's very close to the track. You can then start accelerating. You notice I start accelerating. I lifted off a little bit, but I didn't need to. I would have easily made the corner there. Right, here we go towards the sharp right-hander. Now, this I get slightly wrong here. I brake a little bit too late. So when you're in slipstream, I would brake just before the second arrow on the left. When you're not in slipstream, you can actually go closer to the banner. So you just got to be careful here and judge it accordingly. I see I got a little bit deep here. That does cost me some time to the drivers ahead and Psycho behind. I think use second gear there because I think they would have had momentum if they were in third gear. Heading towards the left-hander then on the right side. The first arrow, of course, quite a common marker here. And you sort of want to try and make sure you're straight line braking. Very easy to start turning in and lose all your braking efficiency. Try and straight line brake it as best as you can. Notice the rear starts to come out for me, so I'll lose a bit of efficiency there. Forces me to go a little bit wide. Just be careful of that. You want the rear to stay stable. Continue on to this right-hander then. Very tricky right-hander. I would recommend going into fourth gear quite early here. Letting the car get round. Third gear will just cause a bit of oversteer. So fourth gear I just found was nice and easy. If you can see the curb on the right side that happened there, where the apex technically is, I suppose, by the game design, but not really. That's when you can start accelerating. Now this corner is very, very tricky. I'm aiming for the curb there. I'm aiming for the apex of that curb. So once I can see it, I want to straight line brake and 100% it. I want to release the brakes a little bit then to allow the car to just turn into the next part of the corner. I notice I release it. And then I see Psycho go for a lunge, technically, down the inside. They were trying to do it safely, but it didn't quite work out. They weren't trying to be dirty there. It was just mistimed. But it's all good. You know, I had no problem with that. And through the left we go. You just lift for that corner. Do not brake. If you brake, you'll get oversteer and all sorts of weight transition. Just be careful about that. But the sharp right-hander, the only corner in second gear. I forgot to mention that. Anyway, down here, again, the very scary corner. I'm using the middle lines there, but you might also want to use the curb. It's a rough guidance here. It depends how much speed you carry up the hill and down the hill. Now, we're going to get this slightly wrong because the car just was a little bit, you saw the car a little bit dicey there. Literally, the minute you start losing the rear, you lose all braking efficiency. So, you've got markers there, but you're going to have to be careful with it. You might want to dab the accelerator a little bit to force understeer rather than the oversteer. That's going to be it for race A. I think you can have some good racing here, if I'm honest. I actually quite like this combo. It was all right, to be fair. I quite enjoyed it. That is it for race A. Let's head to race B. Welcome to Austria then. And yes, we are racing in Group 3 as well. So the most common combo in existence probably in Gran Turismo. Or one of the most common combos anyway. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 5 laps here at the Red Bull ring. It's a rolling start and we are racing on the racing medium tyre. Now, Group 3 Red Bull ring, normally the power cars come to the forefront, and they do indeed. Now, I actually race in the Lamborghini. I highly recommend you don't race in the Lamborghini and you pick the Aston Martin. That's probably the safest option to race here. However, the Lamborghini was top at the time, so I picked it. Let's head to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips and tricks if you really need them here, because we've covered this track several times, and also some of the racing action. We are then at the start. As you can see, Aston Martin. A few of these have obviously done the race already. Very, very good car to use here, the Aston Martin. You can see a vast majority of them are the Aston Martin. Just the crazy people like me in the Lamborghini Huracan. So, in terms of this car, in terms of where you start, actually, let's talk about that first of all. I am going to look behind me here, just to show you where you start in terms of position. So if you look behind, if you're going to be in P12 or P13 especially, as they go full drifto, you're going to struggle a little bit on there. But other than that, you should be golden. You saw a bit of a drift. Race B, as always, we start straight off with a lap guide. So heading towards turn 1. Guess what we use, as we always do here, the 100-meter board. On most of these corners, you're going to be using brake markers like the 100-meter board or the 50-meter board later on. So that's what we're going to use here. So into the first turn. Just be careful of that sausage and be careful about running too wide there. Remember, shortcut penalties are in play here and you don't really want one of them because you will lose positions here, especially in a sprint race like this. It's towards turn 2 then, on the left-hand side. You're looking for the 100-meter board, but you're braking just before it here rather than at it. Sometimes we're at it, sometimes we were before it. We're just before it here, but it's your marker, depending on your car, depending on how close you can get to that 100-meter board. So then you really want to keep it tight. Obviously, this is where a lot of lunges happen on lap 1 and throughout the race, to be fair, as well. Just be careful on exit as well about oversteer. Quite common in a lot of these cars. But the medium tyre should help with that, so don't worry about it too much. It's just, you know, keep it in your mind, basically. Here we go then with the 100-meter board. Once again, for this right-hander, you're braking again before it here. And you want to get the car slowed down quite early here in any case. A lot of people always go too deep here and then lose all the speed on the exit. It's actually better to carry momentum if you can. You see the Aston went for quite an aggressive move there on Kylian. I wonder if that's the same Kylian in my team. I'm not too sure. But yeah, we get that position as well. 50-meter board now. So forget the 100. We're down to the 50. Again, just before it here. And you want to sort of clip your tyre on the inside of the curbing. If you can, because it'll just pull you around a little bit. We don't quite do that. We're looking to try and get it there, but we don't quite. So we have to delay our throttle a little bit. Be careful about running too wide on exit. And then the second left-hander here, just as the short track meets the full track, that's when you're going to start braking, as you can see I'm doing right there. Again, just delay the throttle because you will understeer off, and you just got to be careful. As you see, we get a little bit of oversteer there. And be careful about this curbing. Don't stay on it for too long. There is a curb glitch there that will just fire you off left or right. It'll just force a spin on the car. Just be careful about that. This right-hander then, the marshal boxes we always use here. Nice and easy. Don't brake too late. Brake early. Brake just before it. Drop a couple of gears. It's only third gear here for this corner. And you want to get your tyre on the inside. We go a little bit too deep there, you see. We get it slightly wrong. Finally, the end of the Austrian flag on the left-hand side. That is your marker for the final corner. Again, brake just before it. It's better to brake early, get a run through the corner than trying to absolutely lunge into the corner, running wide and getting that penalty here. Remember, it's 5 laps. You don't have much time to make progress here. So make sure you get it right. As you see, Senna went too wide. Senna gets the penalty. Once Senna takes that penalty, we will not be seeing Senna again. Let's put it that way. So through the right-hander we go, and they've got dirt on their tyres as well. So they go a little bit wide there. So I didn't want to go for a move here. Kylian sort of forced the issue, weirdly, because they were obviously on the left and I'm on the right. So I'm like, I don't want to be here. I want to be behind. I don't really want to fight this. So we then back out of this again. And into the right-hander we go. Unfortunately, there's just a little bit of tag there. There is room left on the exit, and they just avoid, they catch the slide there as well. So it's good effort, and they avoid hitting us as well. So we're going to get the move on Cosmic done. And also on Senna here, so 2 people with penalties. We get them both done. In fact, a reverse Moses maneuver happening here as well. We get the job done. Unfortunately, there's a slight tag behind between Senna and Kylian, and that gives us all the space in the world. In fact, it gives us so much space. We end up with a few laps on our own, so we head to lap 4 now in this race. And heading in towards the right-hander, what's going to happen here? Into the braking zone we go. Nothing happening so far. However, the Aston on the exit, and you've got to be careful of that AstroTurf. It sent them to Narnia. Yes, they met Barrier in Narnia, and that was the end of that. However, we do have Cosmic behind us, who took a penalty earlier on. So they were fighting near the front. Now they're fighting for P5. Into the braking zone we go. They did something very smart there. If you did spot it on the radar, they backed out. They didn't go for a move at turn 1, and I highly advise you don't go for a move at turn 1. Too wide doesn't work. Even if you dive down the inside, guess what? You're going to be compromised on the exit for this straight here. So Cosmic going for a beautiful move here, but into the braking zone we go. They're back out of it early, so going for the cutback. But however, we stop at the apex. We're just bouncing the car through the apex, so we technically stop on the apex there, and we defend that position. I was thinking, oh, excellent. Brilliant move, Tidge. Brilliant defense. Here we go. P5. We're not getting P-Steve here. We are not getting P-Steve. However, I was very wrong with that, with what I do here. So you see a move up ahead as well between 2 drivers. However, we, for some reason, don't turn our car enough. You notice we're not even full lock there to turn it, and yeah, end up in the gravel. It was a really bizarre plebby move by me. But hey, you like me being the pleb sometimes, and we end up in P-Steve. It was like it was always going to happen. And yeah, P-Steve it was. You can have some good races here. There will be a little bit of contact here as well, mainly because of the short nature of it. Race B is always a bit of a sprint, very aggressive nature. But do your best. The key thing, avoid penalties and pick the Aston, as you can see there in the top 5, 4 of them are Astons. That's it then for race B. Let's head to race C, which is definitely not one of my favourites. Welcome to Spa then for race C. And you're probably like, Tidge, why do you hate Spa? What's going on? Well, I love Spa. I just hate Group 1 cars, if I'm honest. I don't think they race very well here. And when we look at the race details, you will see why. So we are racing 10 laps here at Spa. It's a rolling start. There's your problem. We are racing on soft and medium tyres. Both are required. Fuel usage ×2 and tyre wear ×8. Now, the R18 2016 car is the best car here in terms of qualifying, so making sure you get full boost before you do the quali lap. However, in the race, for most people, I suspect the Toyota will probably be the best. When you struggle to manage hybrid, the Toyota generally becomes the better car. If you can manage hybrid very well, the Audi is still the best car here. They're the two choices you have, Toyota or Audi. I went with Toyota just to demonstrate that to you because I know a wide variety of DR levels are watching this video. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks, and a lap guide as well, and how we got on in the race. Here we are then at the start. As you see, Toyotas are 1 and 2 there, and 3, and then we go to the Audis, and you can see some of the aliens at the back there, all in Audis. And yeah, as I say, if they can manage hybrid very well, so they went with Audi, and it is the stronger car by a substantial mile as well. However, we're in the Toyota, and the rolling start here is the main problem here. We're P10. We did a quali lap, 2 quali laps actually, just before we joined this. And we're starting before the chicane here. So imagine the craziness further back. Now, in terms of traction control, whack it on for this, okay? If you're starting before or on the chicane, whack traction control on. It's a huge difference, and it'll just make sure you have a good start here. In terms of lap guide here, we're jumping straight into this. Just before the 100-meter board here, and you do have to be careful of this. You can overshoot this quite easily. Because you have the hybrid system, you're going much faster than you normally would be into this corner anyway. So just be careful of that. You see, I even missed the apex there. And be careful about tyre temps as well. It's the start of the race. There are tyre temps because there is tyre wear. Keep that in mind. Anyway, we're going to head to Rouge and Radion now. And this is flat out, nice and easy. Nothing to worry about here. You should be able to do this flat out, no problemo. As we head up there and onto the Kemmel straight at 3 billion miles an hour. Anyway, this right-hander here, Lacombe, you're braking just before the curb in here. Quite a common marker, one I use in all situations and all cars. Very easy marker to use. And you're going to drop to 3rd gear, basically. I think that's the same in both of these cars, should I say. As round we go. Just balance the car through here and then try and get it turned in for this right-hander. And then you can use quite a lot of the exit there. Nice and easy. Heading towards this right-hander then. Again, just before the curb in. Use that as your marker. Nice and easy again. It won't get taken out. And you're going to drop to 2nd gear here. You can do it in 3rd with fresher tyres. And I'm going to stay in... Oh, well, I was going to stay in 3rd there. I'll drop to 2nd. But I do use 3rd as well occasionally. And for the left, you're going to use the flag marker. Now, you're not going to use that as a brake marker. That's your turn-in marker. When you get to that, you turn left. And you should survive the corner. Now, I'm just dabbing the brakes a little bit beforehand to slow the car down a little bit. Look at that. Nice and easy. Job done. Heading towards Puhon now. We're using our common marker once again on the right side. The flag marker there. Brake just before it. 4th gear. Turn in on the marker as well. And you should make the corner nice and easy. Just balance the throttle when you're at the corner. No need to trail brake too much into here. I trail brake a little bit. Just slow the car down. But look how much speed we could have carried there compared to what we actually did. And as we head to this next right-left. You look at the curbing once again. Just before the curbing, you're going to drop to 3rd gear. I stay in 3rd gear here just to keep the car stable. Some people might want to drop to 2nd. But again, just keep the car nice and stable. And the goal here is to have a tight right for a nice left. That's the goal here. You don't want to go too fast into the right because then it compromises the left. And look, you've got this little bit of a straight here. Now, heading to this right-hander, you're braking well before the curbing here. I'll mark the curbing out because if you're braking there, you're braking too late. Bring it back a notch. You can brake closer to it on soft tyres, of course. We're on the mediums. But just be careful of that. And 3rd gear as well. Through we go. Happy days. And you can do this corner flat. I just made a little mistake here. And missed the apex, so that's why we lost out. Now, Khalif's fall behind, or Khalif's fuel, should we say, on soft tyres and in the Audi as well. And the Audi is so fast out of that corner. That's what you've got to be careful about, because it's got such a much more aggressive hybrid, is the best way to put it. So Khalif's fall gets it done. Blodgett is flat, by the way, and heading towards this right-hander. You might want to use, the bus stop chicane, should I say, 150-meter board or the shadow. Now, some people will want to use a 150-meter board. I use the shadow. We nearly rear-end Khalif's full here. And we get it stopped, though. Look at that. Nice and easy. Happy days. Now, we're going to get into the racing action now. And this is an interesting one because I decided at the end of the next lap, as you see, we're still miles ahead of what happened at the start of lap number 1 here. I decided I was going to pit on this lap. Just to try it out. I had no idea how tyre wear was going to be in these cars. I did see the red bit on this lap. I was like, oh, probably should do another lap. Probably shouldn't. But I decided to come in. When I saw this up ahead, look at that. There's 2-3 cars up ahead fighting. I was like, oh, that's going to slow us down massively. So let's just try it. Let's just try it for the giggles. And Doc Brown had come in. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, that's going to help us out here. So we're just going to get the soft tyres on. And out we come. And the pit stop time there on the screen for you as well. So, and that's all the way up to Radion, or Rouge Radion basically, because then it's about even. As you can see, it's not going up very fast. So we're going to now advance a bit further on because we're sort of in no man's land here at the moment. We've pitted and no one's around us. So advance to lap number 4, and you can see everybody else is pitted here. So basically the end of lap 3 or from the pit stop we did. And we're going to jump Tommy. So that was actually a gain for us, quite a substantial gain as well. Happy days. Job done there. So that helps us out massively. Doc Brown is forever increasing that gap though. Doc Brown really using the Toyota well here. Shout out to you for your Toyota usage basically. You're far better in this car than I am. As you can see, that gap's gone up to 7.3. Nico is behind us. He is like a god in these Group 1 cars, managing hybrid. Side by side at Blanchimon. Look at that. Flat out as well. Pretty much we could have done that. But nice and easy. I'm not going to fight that too much. Clearly in the better car. I knew Nico would be quick here in terms of hybrid management. Anyway, remember last time Quinton and Nico worked together. So Nico running solo here, but doing very well indeed. So we advance a lap later, and Poloff is behind us this time. Same situation. Poloff has been managing that hybrid and doing very well with it. And it's going to have the same situation here. The faster car on the straight as well, the Audi. And just going to get the job done at Blanchimon. So through they go. And this is the same situation for the next lap as well, because look who's behind us now, who will be behind us in a second, as we get a little bit of rotation there, heading into the bus stop chicane. It's IOF Racing, otherwise known as Igor Fraga. Yes, indeed. We've got the world champion once again in our daily race, and same situation once again. You see somebody else has gone off in the distance there. Igor in the Audi, and I'm not going to fight it too much again, because it's the same situation. The Audi is the better car here. Igor, I know, can drive that car very well. You can drive any car very well, to be honest. It's Igor Fraga. But gets the job done, and in towards the chicane we go. We just get Igor a little bit here, I imagine. I imagine Igor was sort of like, don't hit us, Tidge. But we don't, survive. We keep it. Now, Igor is actually not going to have a lot of boost here. We're going to stay on with the fight with Igor. And this is what I'm going to talk about in terms of racing smart now with the Toyota. We know Igor is stupidly rapid, okay? Stupidly rapid. He's a world champion. He's not a world champion for no reason. So you can see Igor struggled with hybrid there from the bus stop to La Source to coming out of La Source. So we're going to have the run on Igor, but you're going to see the straight line pace of the Audi, and this is why I'm showing this. Because I could technically go for a move here, but I'm pretty sure Igor knows that I'm going to race smart here, and I'm going to race smart because I know Igor's going to go further on ahead here. So I stay behind, and we get the car stopped. We just had a little bit of a wiggle there, which actually compromises our lake home substantially. And look at Igor just going now. That hybrid comes into play. Igor's skill comes into play. Boom, he's gone. So we advance to lap 10 now, where I was struggling with the tyres, which is why I would have actually recommend going at least a lap later, lap number 3 at least, for the mediums not coming in on lap 2. Because I'm struggling here now, and I'm just trying to get the car stopped. And JM Bree's behind us here, so we're going to have a good race with JM Bree here towards the end of this one. And here's where I brake a little bit too late, so I've dropped a second gear to try and get the car stopped. Round we go, but JM Bree is in that Audi. So through we go. I had to really lift there. The front tyre's not working at all now. So at this point, obviously, I'm going to defend this. It's the last lap. We're racing towards the line now. It's fair game for P8 here. So Blanchimon, we're going to go side by side. JM Bree just goes a little bit too wide running through Blanchimon. There's a little bit of a moment there, a little bit of a tap, nothing major there. And in towards the braking zone we go. And they just released the brake a little bit here. I did see that on the radar. I was like, ooh, can we do it? And obviously I had a penalty there, which is very unfortunate. I'm guessing that was Blanchimon, maybe? I don't know. But we do keep P8 in the end, so a good result all the same. But yeah, it's not an interesting race, to be honest. I mean, that's one of the shortest daily races I've ever done in terms of this video. Some people will like it. I do need to improve on Group 1. However, I'm focusing on Assetto this week to get into top split. That's going to be it for me now, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, please do give it a like, subscribe if you want to stay in touch in terms of the content. Ollie's stream is there if you want to go watch Ollie, as he's about to do daily races this evening. But I'm going to say au revoir and farewell.